Hello everyone, welcome back to Literary Theory. In the last class we studied about Lang and Perrault, about Claude Lévi-Strauss, about Roland Barthes. Another topic from Structuralism we are going to study today is Structuralist Narratology. You know that narratology is a study about narratives. Structuralist narratology is application of structuralism into narratology. Structuralist narratology illustrates how a story's meaning develops from its overall structure, that is Lang, rather than from each individual story's isolated theme, the Perrault. See, this is the same idea that we have discussed in the last class. This is application of structuralist principles into narratology. That is, we have seen that in the last class I told you that Claude Lévi-Strauss applied structuralism into the interpretation of mythology. So while applying, he presented it like this. In order to analyze a particular myth, he placed it in the context of whole cycle of mythology in order to understand it. Similarly, a story is analyzed not in an isolated manner. Instead, it is analyzed in the background of, in the context of the whole structure of the story itself, in the context of the larger structure of the story. That is how structuralist narratology works. That is how a story's meaning develops from overall structure of the genre of story rather than this particular individual story. That is what that is how it works. Drawing on Saussurean linguistics, the French structuralists defined literature as a kind of langue, of which each specific work is an instance of Perrault. We have discussed that as well. Roland Barthes, A.J. Greimas and Todorov developed an underlying structural approach to literature. Consequently, they identified the general codes with which a literary work is made of. These are codes of making a literary work, Lang. So what these people, Roland Barthes, A.J. Greimas and Todorov did was that they identified a general code which is underlying a literary work. The formula which is used for making a literary work was identified by these people. For example, just consider detective novel. There is a formula for writing a detective story. For example, the formula of a detective story consists of the following elements. 1. A crime is committed. 2. A detective appears. 3. A number of suspects are presented. 4. Detective starts investigation. Then detective identifies the criminal. Like this. See, if you take any detective story and try to find these elements, it will be present in all detective stories. So the elements I pointed out are codes which are used for making literary work. The codes I mentioned are considered as Lang, and the individual detective story is considered as Perrault. In this individual work, the individual work is relevant only as the concrete materialization of these general codes. Concrete materialization means realization of, actualization of the general codes. So I'm using the example I said, the real detective story is actually the realization of the codes I have mentioned. So that is how structuralist narratology works. With this, we have come to the end of the discussion of structuralism, and now we will move on to post-structuralism. From the title itself, you may understand that post-structuralism is the theoretical development after structuralism. Post-structuralism is a term for philosophical and theoretical movement that both build upon and reject ideas established by structuralism, the intellectual movement that preceded it. So, what is given as bold here is very important, because post-structuralism started from structuralism itself, but later rejected the ideas of structuralism. That is the importance of post-structuralism. I mean, it started from structuralism, it rejected the ideas of structuralism. Post-structuralism is a variety of critical perspectives and practices. In 1970s, these critical perspectives became the center of attention and replaced structuralism from its prominence. As it came after structuralism, it is called post-structuralism. Post-structuralism is not a particular theory, it is a variety of critical perspectives and practices. When it came, it tried to displace structuralism from its prominence. As I said, it had its origin in 1970s. The beginning of post-structuralism was the presentation of the paper Structure, Sign and Play in the Discourse of Human Sciences by French philosopher Jacques Derrida at Johns Hopkins University in 1966. This is a very important information as far as post-structuralism is concerned. The beginning of post-structuralism, the announcement of post-structuralism was the presentation of a paper by the French philosopher Jacques Derrida at Johns Hopkins University in USA. The name of the paper was Structure, Sign and Play in the Discourse of Human Sciences. This is Derrida, one of the greatest philosophers of our time. Derrida is often associated with the movement in philosophy known as deconstruction. He is regarded as one of the most influential figures of Western intellectual history. His works spanned philosophy, literature, the law, political theory and social theory. You will study more in detail about deconstruction later. And what this paper is about. In the paper, Derrida attacked structuralism. How? By pointing out that the concept of structure supposes a sender to every system. Sender. See, Derrida says that when we say that there is a structure to a system, whether it is a linguistic system, whether it is a language system, when we say that it has a structure, then it is understood that there is a sender to it. There is a specific sender to it. According to structuralism, this sender provides a distinct meaning to that system. However, Derrida, using his concept of deconstruction, says that the sender is absent in a system. That was the first argument. So he criticized structuralism, saying that when there is a structure to everything, there is a sender to it. Sender is actually the meaning of it. A single meaning which is created from a particular system, a language system. Later, contemporary thinkers like Michel Foucault, Roland Barthes also supported Derrida's decentering. See, this idea is called decentering. That his argument that there is no sender to a system. This is called a decentering. So Roland Barthes and Michel Foucault supported Derrida's decentering method with their own ideas. According to Poststructuralism, a text does not hold a single meaning. This is very important. According to Poststructuralism, a text does not hold a single meaning. Instead, it is a site or platform where a number of meanings are produced. No meaning is superior or inferior. This is important. So, when we say that there is a center to a system, that means a single absolute meaning is created from that system. Derrida attacked it. Derrida said that there is no single meaning from a text. Instead, text is a site or platform where a lot of meanings are produced. No meaning is superior, no meaning is inferior. Just imagine that you are studying a poem. See, when we talk about a poem, we always try to interpret what is the meaning of this particular line, what is the meaning of this stanza, like that. Then we will be paraphrasing it and we will find out a meaning from it. Actually, we also suppose a single meaning from a poem, but actually, according to Derrida, there is no single meaning. Instead, it can be interpreted in unlimited ways. You cannot say that this is what is intended by this particular poem. There are several meanings. So, several meanings can be produced from a particular text. That is what Derrida is arguing. No meaning is superior or no meaning is inferior. No poet will be able to come and say that this is the meaning I intended. A poet should keep silent after writing. Post-structuralist thought had its origin from philosophy. It views every discourse in a doubtful manner. It questions generalizations. So, post-structuralism originated from philosophy. Why it is said that it is originated from philosophy? The reason is that it views every discourse in a doubtful manner. So, philosophy is skeptic, that is, philosophy is doubtful of everything. That is why it questions everything. Then generalizations are it questions generalizations. See, one common argument reason is given to everything. Everything is viewed through a common viewpoint. Such generalizations are questioned. According to Derrida, a text has multiple meanings. It can even be against what the text is trying to say. Therefore, there is no final meaning, so it can be called an open text. Barthes also supports the same idea. So, this is another important statement that regarding deconstruction and Derrida. It can be, the meaning of a text can be against what the text is trying to say. For example, just imagine a story about patriotism. Patriotism is said to be the meaning of that particular story. However, just imagine that when we read closely, that story is totally against patriotism. Such things can happen. It can even be against what the text is trying to say. Say, just imagine a cinema which is supporting the cause of women, supporting women, feminist movie. It can be, when we analyze closely, that same movie can be anti-women. Such things can happen. Such things had always happened in cinema, especially. See, some cinema, for example, 22 Female Kottayam is a movie which claimed that it is a feminist movie. But many critics in Malayalam had deconstructed it, pointing out features from the same film, saying that this is anti-women. Certain features are anti-women in the movie. So, such readings are called deconstructive readings. So it can be against what the text is trying to say. So simply saying, you can say that a person, you are describing a person, you look very good. Then you say it with an additional, you look very good. Then when we say it with an extra stress, it just can mean just the opposite. So the same statement can be interpreted in a different manner. So Roland Barthes, in his essay Death of the Author, says that the author is dead. This is a metaphorical way of speaking, not literally. Author is dead after writing, and there is no single authority of meaning. Text is a combination of previous texts and various, thus it produces a number of meanings. Various schools of thoughts like feminism, Marxism, New Historicism, etc. share the same ideas of post-structuralism. So the death of the author means that the author intended meanings are dead, single meanings are dead. Instead, reader is born when the text is created. Then reader can interpret the text according to his freedom. Then logocentrism. This concept we have discussed earlier. The French philosopher Jacques Derrida used the term logocentrism to describe the belief that there is a meaning or sender or essence in every text. Logocentrism means the belief that there is a meaning or sender or essence in every text. See, we all follow this logocentric approach, that we suppose that there is a single meaning from a poem. We suppose that there is a single meaning from a particular sentence, like that. This belief is called logocentrism. Derrida attacked this logocentrism. Derrida says that we believe that there is always an essence or meaning embedded in a text. That meaning is given so important that it is considered as a sender. So the concept of logocentrism is called desire for the sender, desire for a single meaning. This concept came from Western philosophy. With the theory of deconstruction, Derrida rejected the concept of sender and logocentrism. So the so-called presence of meaning is also called metaphysics of presence. So that is logocentrism, which Derrida attacked. So we will discuss more about these topics in later classes. So we are stopping here. Thank you.